Danny and his wife Darci met, fell in love, and got married. They had their ups and downs as most marriages do. But for Danny, some of his battles were just too big to confront. He still looks back to the day Joyce Meyer came and spoke at his church as a pivotal day in changing his life.
So we prayed, God, give us a sign. Tell us what we're supposed to do in this situation. And it was literally that night we went to the evening service and Joyce Meyer was coming to speak. She said something that drastically affected our lives for the better. She said,
a lot has happened in Danny's life leading up to that moment when Joyce spoke. But in order to fully understand what Joyce said that night, you have to know why it was relevant for Danny.
I'm very extreme, and my wife is not very extreme. When we met, I used to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day, binge eating, gambled. My addictive behavior made my wife run for cover.
I don't know, I was lost. I was out there feeling like I was doing what I was supposed to do, and then coming home to a husband who was, 460 pounds, angry all the time, didn't want to go anywhere, do anything. And I felt that I was supposed to keep it all together, and I would try, but he was just so unhappy.
When you have those addictions, the way they really grip me is I end up trying to chase my losses. Like when you go to the track and I would lose $200 or $300, then my goal is to win that $200 or $300 back. You end up losing more, and it just is like an avalanche. When it really became a problem was when I put down a $4 bet one day and won $148,000. That, a lot of people would say, that's the best day of my life. For me, it was the worst, because it was the day that took a hold of me and wouldn't let go.
Within no time, they were $45,000 in credit card debt, with no end in sight. Danny was struggling, and Darci was trying to fix things in her own strength.
I'm driving in the car, I'm crying out to God, and I said, Lord, throw me a bone here. I've got to know what to do. And he said, that's the whole point, Darci, don't do anything. He said, trust me and give him to me. He's not your responsibility. What I started praying for was that God would give him the desires of his heart, and that God would bless him and fulfill all the plans he had for him. And that's when I saw God changing things.
It was like the light switch was flipped on, and all those things that I didn't see before I saw. It was like, Danny, your lack of self-control, your undisciplined life is affecting everyone around you, especially your children who model everything you do.
Danny stopped gambling, but the debt was overwhelming.
So we prayed, God, give us a sign. Tell us what we're supposed to do in this situation. And it was literally that night we went to the evening service, and Joyce Meyer was coming to speak, and she said something that drastically affected our lives for the better. She said,
I want to talk to you tonight about how people run away from things, and how the Bible tells us that we need to confront issues. I want to start you off with a statement. The only way out is through. See, some of you are trying to get away from some things that you ought to just go ahead and go through. Anytime you're running from something or hiding from something, it has power and authority over you. Because if you're afraid of something, then you'll have to always be afraid of it.
I felt like she was the instrument of God's voice speaking directly to me. But you don't just jump out of a hole. You have to create a plan, and it takes one step at a time. And it might take 1,000 steps, but every one step you're closer to the end. And I knew that, and we kept the faith. So over the years, we were paying off this debt. And I was working my second job that was helping to pay off the debt, and my wife was watching a TV show, and it was The Biggest Loser.
Once the process started happening and he decided he wanted to try out for the show, we knew God was doing something. And especially when he tried out for season 7 and he made it all the way to the producer's level.
Then season 8 came around. I went and did it again. And at the same time, my wife and I were driving to the bank to pay our last debt payment. We got out of debt that day, and 2 weeks later, I got the call saying I was going to be on The Biggest Loser. So not only was I going to be on The Biggest Loser and change my life with my weight, I had the confidence to be on The Biggest Loser because I had just conquered the biggest mountain of my life, which was $45,000 in credit card debt. And I did it one step at a time through hard work, not giving up, and knowing that each step led me to that end point.
Danny went on to become the biggest loser ever on the show. But as Danny and Darci both know, winning doesn't end the cycle of temptation.
It's 2 years later, and we're still trying to develop new habits.
I still have to catch myself when I want to go binge eat. I still have to decide to pay cash when I want to charge it. And I still mess up. We all still mess up. The difference between me then and me now, it's just all about not giving up. Because too many people give up when they're on the 1 yard line and they're almost getting ready to punch it in the end zone and find that victory. And then they go, and they give up. And it's like, oh, don't give up. If you were seeing the game, you'd be going, why are they giving up? But they don't see it. They don't see the big picture at the time. They're in the situation. The situation's not bigger than God. All you got to do is just keep your faith, lose your quit, and you'll go to the end.